forbid there was a huge emergency.
I would like to explore what the options would be, because I would imagine there's ways that Ms. Rodriguez's concerns could be addressed with the technology. Even with the geofencing, if that was on and the kids couldn't use their cell phones, if there was an emergency, there's a way to turn it off.
It turns off when 911 is called.
Yeah,
It
so
turns
I would
off, and it turns off at different times. And then they can also set it for different areas, like a safe zone, like in the cafeteria. They can have it for different areas that the kids could use
Yeah.
their phones, but in
I'd like
actual
to hear-
classrooms.
I'd be willing to listen to more information.
Yeah, and they have certain, like I said, apps that they could use in the classroom that are appropriate to be used. But
Well,
you
that's-
valid point. I can see both sides.
Because if something was happening, they're not going to all of a sudden turn off this fake fence and all of a sudden give them the ability to be able to call their mom. So that's not happening at that moment. They're not even considering that. At that moment, they're dealing with the crisis. So no longer at that moment is my child going to be able to reach out to me, because that's not turned on. So at that moment, it's still turned off, and it's still as if they don't have a phone and a way to be able to reach me.
Understood.
I do like the ability to limit apps, because if you listen to that Khan Academy, and with the use of his AI tutoring, and part of the safeguards is to protect what outside sites the kids can access to put on their school systems. So if they have a school computer, they can only put certain programs on there that we know are not infected with bad viruses. So they couldn't take a strange outside app, download it, and infect the whole school system and blow it up. So I like the idea that there's that safeguard to it. But I'd like to hear more.
Ms. Duvall,
Thank you.
sorry.
It's all right. Yes, I read it. And I think for any of us to jump to conclusions as to yes or no is not a wise thought process. Mr. Pender does need to check it out. He needs to bring it to us. There were issues, legal issues, years ago when it was brought up about, quote, jamming. It's not called jamming anymore. And so the school district never moved forward with it.
Okay.
This company sounds like it has put a lot of thought into what they're doing, how they're doing it, when they're doing it, and I do think it's something that should be looked at thoroughly, discussed thoroughly, and then the board makes a decision.
Understood.
So I just have a question, because I don't have kids in middle school anymore. They're all in high school. In high school, they're only allowed them out during passing or cafeteria. They're not allowed out during instructional time, and it's up to the teacher to make sure if they don't want them out that they discipline them, correct? And we have policy in place.
So much easier.
It would be, and it would be to say you can't have them out just like middle school, right? Your daughter is in middle school, Ms. Hawkins. They're not allowed to have their cell phones out at any point in time on campus, correct? But they can have them on them. So maybe we need to look at something like that. They can have them on them. They just can't have them out, period, in our classrooms.
I think when it's teacher directed, I think they can have them out.
Right.
Well, that's our statute. That's our law. But I'm saying as our policies. So guess what? No longer, you forgot your computer. We give them computers. You don't need this out during instruction time. At any point in time, you should have a computer, correct?
Right.
We're not 1-to-1 K to 8.
Not in middle school. Middle school
In
does.
high
I'm talking
school.
about
High school.
Middle school already has it that you cannot have your phone out during any time you reach our campus. When you hit our campus, that phone better be in your book bag, stayed in your book bag, and mute, correct?
They take it. They have
I'm
it
not
out.
watching in the
Text
restroom
They're-
with them, but
they are.
what are they doing in the restroom with their
are.
phone? I don't want to know, okay? Just
And
saying.
if you speak to teachers, they will tell you it's one of the biggest headaches are the
Is
cell
going to
phone.
the restroom.
Well, the cell phone, just enforcing it and dealing with them.
And I agree, but
That's-
so K through 8, our elementary, middle school, we've already done it.
So Michelle,
And I don't know how well it's working.
are you
but-
willing to look at this and see what it's about?
Of course, I'm willing to look at it.
Or have
Yeah.
Mr. Pender just look at it and then let him
He
decide.
can
I'm
bring it to
totally
the
fine
board,
with
and,
that
and
too.
we can all look at it and decide whether or not to scramble. I do agree with Ms. Rodriguez to an extent that, yes, if something major happens, you know what? Here's my thought. If something major happens, I want my child to at least be able to send me a text before something happens to them saying I love you. So, and
we're
that's not something I want to ever deal with in my life.
Right.
But that option to be able to do that would be something that,
And unfortunately, the day and age that we're at, those things are happening, and it's happening more and more, and it doesn't look like it's going to go backwards, to traditional times. It looks like the world's getting crazier. So with that being said, I think we already have just implemented, through legislative and through our district, where K through 8, they're not using their phones. So that's already done. They just have it with them. And so afterwards for sports, they can reach their parents. They just have it with them so that if, God forbid, something happened that was a tragic accident, that they could reach their parent. And so we've already eliminated that. From K through 8, it's already happening. Those kids aren't using their phone. And if they do, then they have to suffer the consequence. So I don't know if what you're saying is at high school you want to make it the same. I don't know. But I don't know. I guess we could ask all the teachers at all the schools, and we could do some more extensive, deeper dive and find out if K through 8, since we have changed this, and now they are not using their phones all day, and those phones just stay inside in their backpack or in their purse or whatever they bring, and they're not coming out, if that seems to be okay now, and how they're adjusting. I guess that would be, I would want to know from everybody how it seems to be, and is it working?
I would still like to hear what the company has to offer in person.
So I will look into this. I'll assemble a team. I'm just writing things down as you guys are talking about this. It would have to be probably a team of TIS, safe schools, principals, to look at this, because putting something like, I don't know a lot about it from what you've said, but putting something in TIS would definitely have to be coordinated. Safe schools would have to be in on the conversation, principals, and then the price of the product and how much that we have available to.
Well, and then the other
Right
thing
now.
is, I was excited about it, but I love the input from everyone. I can see both sides. If Mark and I are the only one interested, is it worth wasting the time for him to do this with the team and move forward? You're interested as well? Okay. 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 I just don't want to waste. Okay. Okay.
of course, if it's something that is always going to make it where children can actually learn in our schools, right? And teachers aren't fighting with a cell phone to get their attention, that's great. Because as we know, not everyone is got parents that discipline them at home and make it that, hey, if you take your cell phone out and you get in trouble, you're going to be at trouble home, right?
Right.
They're going to be like, well, it's no big deal. So again, yes.
I will find out more information. I mean, just as you're saying that, I'm thinking if we're doing, if this works for students' phone, it's going to work for employee phones too. And there are some rules around what we could keep from adults that work at our schools as far as communication. But I'm sure if this company is proposing this, they probably have something around an answer for that. But I will look up the
Explore it.
company, ask for a demo for me, and then I will get a team of people to look at it, and we can
Thank
bring
you.
it back for information.
Okay. And then I had one other thing that I want to explore. I talked a little bit to Beth Lastra about adding a dental program in our schools, like a dental assistant type program, maybe at one of the schools. She said in the future, there's only one other school in Florida that offers it, and that's Citrus, and it can be kind of costly, but with the connections that some of us have, maybe some of the dentists that we know locally could possibly offer, equipment or sponsor a lab or something. We could get the community involved because there is a need. After speaking with my dentist, that was one of her biggest asks. So, Ms.
Well, we
Duvall.
can talk to Beth. I mean, she does have some money for programs and things like that. It's and see how that fits into a bigger picture of programs across the district.
Okay. Ms. Duval?
And you said you spoke to Beth about it already?
She did. She said she was going to look at it a little bit more, but her first thought was cost. And then she said only one other school in Florida, in Citrus County, does it.
Okay.
So, Ms. Duval?
The board did look at this kind of a program several years ago, and the two issues at that time were the cost and the fact that you had to have so many dentists involved in this program, and they were having difficulty getting a commitment from our local Hernando County dentist in such numbers that are needed to help with this kind of program. Yes, the
For the
clinicals
clinicals.
especially were an issue.
Is the Crescent Clinic still open?
Is the what?
Crescent Clinic, it was on 19. It was,
Not sure.
It was a hospital or offered hospital services for people that were indigent, that couldn't afford it. They didn't charge, but they had 8 or 10 dentists that came in twice, 3 times a week. I remember that. There was another business in that development where they were. I think they were up by the Horse and Crown, if I remember right.
Okay.
I don't remember the location.
Yeah.
I don't remember the location, but yes, I thought they were still around, but I do not know.
They have multiple dentists who come in, and they offer their services free. That would be an ideal place to have a hygienist or a technician there.
Yeah, I think we could definitely reach out to the community and see who would maybe be.
Yes.
First need to find out,
So,
cost and such.
go ahead. You
So
wanna
Beth-
go first?
Beth's going to do
Beth's
that, right?
going to look into
Beth's
it.
going to
but
look at it and get back to you.
Correct. I have
Okay.
one more thing, Ms. Bonsick.
So that's not on.
So I wanted to say something when you
Okay.
were talking about the CTEs.
Okay, go ahead.
So just for the CTEs, my understanding is also because I've been working with Beth to get fire and EMT into one of our high schools. So we're looking at either putting Winding Waters or Wikiwachi High or Central, I think is the other school that could take the CTE. So when we were looking at it and we were talking to fire rescue and stuff, the biggest thing with the CTE is that you got to make sure that you can show the pass rate or they will cut our funding. So Pasco has it and Citrus both have the fire EMT now. Well, EMS, it's not EMT, EMS into their high schools, and they're doing well. So that's what we're trying to work on, also putting in.
Love that. Thank you. All right. The other thing I have now as board chair, I have to approve legal fees and such. So they'll send over for me to have approval on that. And I guess in the future, the chair just looks it over and approves it. I just want to make sure with the board, does everyone want to see those legal fees? Do you want me to have Kelly forward you to know what we're spending in legal fees? Any of the documents that I am approving on behalf of the board, I just want to make sure you guys are fine with me approving it. Or if you would like Kelly to also forward it to you, I can have her do that for items such as, just to see, I don't know if you have interest in knowing.
I would, the only thing that would even be remotely interested would be a summary of the individual legal fees that we're paying, to each firm. I don't think I wouldn't need a breakdown unless it's an absurd amount, in which case I could always go back and ask. But even with that, a quarterly, at the end of the quarter would be fine.
I feel like that's, once again, something that any of us at any time
Can ask for.
Can ask for.
Yeah.
So I think it's just putting more work it's unnecessary, in my opinion. Thank you for considering that. But I also feel like, being chair, people select the chair thinking that you can handle the position. So I think that I feel fine with you looking it over and you approving something. I think if you see something you don't like, that you wouldn't approve it. So I'm good with leaving it as is, and I think we're in a good place. If any of us want that information at any moment, all we have to do is call Kelly, and Kelly will give it to us.
Okay. Do you guys feel the same way?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yep. Okay. All right. Any other comments? Ms.
I had the
Rodriguez?
pleasure this week I would just want to do a shout out to the district team, the school administration, and the teachers for all the amazing work that I saw during the walkthroughs. I witnessed instructional practices being utilized and students engaging. I feel we have amazing students and teachers, and I'm proud of all the hard work and dedication. So thank you for having me, Mrs. Michaelika, And Mrs. Cropley, I really enjoyed going through the rooms and seeing how you guys assess and how you tally it all up. And I think that was very eye-opening. So thank you.
Okay. I also have one more suggestion or comment to make. I love now that we're seeing the pre-K marketing, we're marketing for pre-K. I also want to suggest some marketing for the homeschool families to know that we do offer homeschool options, like curriculum for them to do their own homeschool through, I believe it's through eSchool. Well, it's not just that they take eSchool, they can be a part and use our curriculum and homeschool at home.
Yeah, there's a couple different avenues I think that we have that they can use for curriculum.
And I would like to see that advertised for them. Because we still get money from it if they can choose to buy their own homeschool material, or they can come and use ours and be held accountable, and we actually get funding from it.
Well, they'll get funding if they use eSchool or Edgenuity or a platform that we have, and then we would get the FTE. If we're, I don't think the curriculum we would get money for, but they would have to be registered and take one of the. There is an avenue that we can get FTE
Yes.
for that, but
That'd be the only avenue I would want?
yes. No.
Right. Well, that's what I would, yes, that's what I'm saying.
So,
And going on that too,
go ahead.
I want to explore the idea. I was talking to Gina last night regarding hybrid options. I know that there's not very many public schools that offer a hybrid option. A lot of our charter and our private schools are offering hybrid options where the student does a 3-2. They attend brick or mortar 3 days and they do virtual 2 days. And it's very appealing to parents. A lot when I'm speaking with a few parents that are actually doing the hybrid model, are choosing to do that because they want the flexibility. And just a thought of maybe something to look at, to explore.
Does that go with our
I think there's
EIC voucher?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of details to that
There are, but I would like to maybe look at it.
for financially for us as well. So I think Mrs. Michaelika would probably be able to help us figure that one.
She's going to start researching. I brought that to her.
What I do know, though, is I will tell you that watching since our VPK has been now advertised, I see people jumping on it left and right and talking like they're going to line up at 3 a.m. to get into our schools, which is a very plus thing. And I have talked to Mr. Pender about Suncoast not having one and liking to see Suncoast to get one and be zoned. And I think he might want to chime in on that one. But to me, getting them in VPK and having that zoned school, even if we have to charge most parents and they don't understand that, hey, you get to go to school on the voucher from this time to this time, and then if you want to stay until the end of school, you pay the $100. Most parents are like, oh, I thought we were paying $100 for the whole. No, you're only paying to keep them. If you don't want to keep them in our school, you don't pay, right? And parents are very, very. I see a lot of good in that. And making sure we have VPKs in our schools, and all our schools that you can get into.
Gina, you want to come up and talk about what we talked about yesterday? Mike, it wasn't a planned announcement, but I guess we can talk about it. So we've been talking about this and expanding VPK. So the first part of this is yesterday. Last week, I think Gina had a meeting with her team, and she was developing a plan about how to expand it, because what we talked about before is expanding it is good. The data that we get back from our students that attend our VPK in kindergarten is great. We have a good return rate on those students that come back that are in our VPKs that matriculate into our own kindergartens. But the other side of that is we have to balance that with cost, because there's a cost to the program. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, so good afternoon. To start, some of my team members will be doing a workshop at our next meeting on VPK. So every year around this time we meet to look at how we can expand VPK. So off the top of my head, I don't have everything in front of me. We're looking at adding between 6 and 7 new VPK classrooms for next year, and possibly 2 being at Suncoast Elementary. So we also talked about the marketing piece around VPK. And one of the things that I was sharing with Mr. Pinder, this is the time where families get the VPK voucher, right? It starts in January. And we usually share out and market and communicate, but we don't, yes, it's out there, but we don't have to communicate the entire year about VPK because our programs fill up on March 1st when parents can register and that kind of thing. The majority of our schools fill up very quickly, and we have waiting lists at all of our schools that have VPK. So the parents have 1 year to use that voucher. That's the year before kindergarten. And then if they don't take advantage of that, they can use it during the summer, during summer VPK, and we offer summer VPK as well. So we're really excited. We actually have a meeting with principals on Friday to talk about those next steps. One of the other things that we're doing, Connie and Kelly, who oversee the details of VPK, they have been calling. They've started to call all of our families that are currently enrolled in VPK. And they have a series of questions that they're asking them pretty much to find out if they plan on returning in kindergarten. And if not, really talking to them about the whys, gathering the data around that. And then from there, the principals will reach out to certain families if there's, we want to stay here, but it's not our zone school and we didn't get in for school choice or whatever the situation is, then the principal is going to call and then they will problem solve with the family and then, of course, the district to see, what we can do to keep as many of those families as we can in our district. So that's pretty much in a nutshell, when it comes to VPK, our plans for next year. Like Mr. Pinder said as well, every time we have our STAR assessment, our district VPK team, we meet to review that data. We also are tracking our VPK students that, were in VPK last year and the year before to look at that trend data. It looks really, really good. Those students that we've had in VPK that are now in kindergarten, first grade, their data looks really amazing because they have a certified teacher for VPK, not just, anybody teaching VPK. They have a certified teacher. Some of the rooms have the certified teacher and the CDA or a certified teacher and a para. So definitely getting a really good education there. And then just to share also, tomorrow we have a meeting with elementary and middle school. We are doing the same thing with our 5th grade families. So we've created a survey that principals will be pushing out to all 5th grade families. We've also created a timeline. They are going to push that out. Families are going to take the survey so that we can get information around how many of our 5th grade families plan on, transitioning in our schools for middle school, and any barriers that come up within that survey, principals will be calling, getting with us. So again, we can do our best to, help support our families in staying. So,
And I do want to
Thank you.
state on you that what you said about having our kids starting them in our VPKs
Yes.
with certified teachers. I will
Yes.
tell you, my grandson tested at the beginning of the year at 22%, 81% above average now.
It makes a difference for sure.
And
Is he a
he's a
Winding
Winding
Water?
Waters, yeah.
Because
and-
I was
yeah.
talking to his
He's in
teachers,
Miss
and they were
Mitchell's.
actually talking about him.
Yep.
So, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So that's a
Awesome.
That's,
That's
a
a big
big
deal.
jump.
Mhm.
That's a big jump.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes.
I also
Sure.
want to ask, do we have our kindergarten availability at our magnet schools open to the 100% capacity? Have we
Yes.
opened that to make sure?
Yeah, they're always, as that's most of the time where people enter magnet schools. If they're a K-8 is in kindergarten or elementary. for our magnet schools, so that capacity is maximized
Okay. Thank
for
you.
the room that we have. Also, I'd just like to say, to put a kind of a plug in for this, that the only way right now that we're able to expand VPK is through millage dollars. So just want to let people be aware that that is funded right now through millage.
Okay.
And probably in the future, any future expansion will be funded through millage.
Thank you, board, for the discussion today. I always appreciate a different viewpoint and hearing from each of you. So with that, do we have anything else? Oh, I think Ms. Rodriguez has one more thing before we close. We have 5 minutes. Go ahead, Ms. Rodriguez. And then Mr. Johnson.
Okay, I had to pull up the gentleman's name. So my daughter plays basketball for Wanting Waters, and we're all over the county and in the gyms constantly. The other night, we played Hernando High School, and I had to text Mrs. Booker at the moment that we were sitting there because the bleachers were so clean. It was beautiful. And I asked her, I said, who in the world cleans these bleachers? Because I'm in schools 3 to 4 nights a week for games, and I have never seen something that was so clean. And she said his name is Robert Pennell, Pennell. If I'm saying that right, he's the custodian in the gym. So I just wanted to say that this gentleman is doing his job and then some, because it looked brand new. And that's our oldest school in the county. And I just couldn't believe it. So it was, I guess, because we're sitting there, our purses go there, our bags, our coats, our jackets, so you naturally see it all. And usually what I see is not at all what I like seeing. So this was just unbelievable. So I had to call Mrs. Booker and tell her that hats off, that I was extremely proud, and I didn't know who she had behind cleaning this. So she's texted back this gentleman's name. So I just want to say, and I'll go tell him as well, I plan on paying a visit over there, but Robert Pennell, he could probably go around and do a tutorial on how to clean those.
I was just about to say maybe we could use him to train others.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. Mr. Johnson.
I'll bring this up again in the future, but we were talking about hybrid classes. And I remember back in the late 60s, early 70s, there was a federal program, I think it was called CETA, C-E-T-A, where students went to, it was A and B students. They alternated weeks in school and on a job. So if they were trained to be a dental technician, they'd work 1 week in dental office, go to school the following week, and there'd be somebody else with the reverse schedule. So they both shared the same job, and they both shared the same teacher. It's just something we can explore in the future.
All right. Thank you. All right. With that, I'm going to call for this meeting to be adjourned at 1:57 p.m.